today. So for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to have a panel of the most fresh Fulbrighters who share with us experience, like their journey, complete journey of the Fulbright program, from the application process to coming to the interview at the embassy, to doing the standard tests, and then to going and participating in the program. And this is a good part for our friends today who are in the middle of the application, and reminding you that the deadline for the Fulbright Foreign Student Program for this cycle is March 31st. Let me go ahead and introduce the panel we have today. We'll be happy to be with Dr. Christian Bizimira, who is a 2017-2019 Fulbright Foreign Student alum. And then we'll welcome back Pamela Mutesi, who is our 2015-2016 Fulbright Foreign Student alumni. So they will lead our panel, sharing experiences and receiving questions from prospective applicants.
Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Happy anniversary to all of us. Your Excellency, Ambassador, Honorable Ministers. So it's a really great pleasure to be here and share my experiences at the former Fulbright students, which all the testimonies said about the great experiences. And as I explained to Jado, my story, the journey to the Fulbright application was a little bit funny because I failed two times the application, and I've been successful on the third time. So it was really, thank you, Ambassador. It was really, it's a very competitive, and as I said to Jado, I think one of the best advice to future alumni, future Fulbright student is a simple philosophy, I think, from a singer. He said, try and failed, but never fail to try. And this is what I can encourage students. So I remember during the application, it was really, really hard because you have to find all the documents, all the papers, put all your experiences, and try to draft your CV on a very standard format. And then from, I think, our application, Jado maybe will help me about the numbers. I remember we were 100 applicants, and send the CV and the resume. And only around 30 and 40 people were selected for the interview. And for interview, they selected only 5 people. They go to TOEFL and GRE. And from the 5 people, only 2 were selected. It was me on my cohort and another colleague. So I was lucky to get a scholarship to go to Harvard Medical School, where I did my master's program from 2017 to 2019 in global health and social medicine. It was a really great experiences. So, and in the US, when during the application process, the Fulbright tell you to be really competitive. I get in Boston, and with the other colleagues, the course, you can imagine, was so intense. And I remember the first 3 months, I lost 10 pounds because I have to take the train, and from the train to the course. And there I have to read like 2 or 3 chapters from 5 books every week, and with 5 assignments every Friday before midnight. You can imagine how the course was really intense. And I did find a place to stay near the medical school. So I was staying near a small city called Framingham, which is 45 minutes from Boston. And then I passed also my driving license, and I was able to get a small car, and which I was driving from Framingham to Boston every day. And during 2 years, yeah. So you can imagine, based on the application and the process, you format yourself, and you tell yourself to be competitive, not because you come from low and middle income countries and say you have excuse to fail, but also that you also show how it's possible to come to a very limited resource path and be able to compete it with the people who come from a high-end income countries. And also the experiences was really good. I met a lot of friends and I was able to finish on 2019 and come back early to 2020. And unfortunately, when COVID started, it was not, you know, when you come from Fulbright program, you are not discouraged by the challenges, but you lean from the challenges to get an opportunity. And in that context, I was able to have, because I'm doing a palliative care and the end of life care, to have a center now, an Africa Center for research on end of life care, which is now located in Kigali. And I'm working with most of African countries, Francophone, Anglophone, and the Lusophone, and try to explore the existing practice on end of life care before the colonial period, and try to learn from those existing practice how to combine with the modern approach of end of life care, and see how that will support the government, the Ministry of Health, and also improve the quality of life of Rwandan. So I think in brief, that was my small journey, and I hope to get your questions. But please, for future Fulbright, don't be discouraged because you've been rejected. Please, if you've been rejected, this is another chance to do more and to do better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christian. We've got some great questions that we'll get to before our second panelist super quick. Roger asks a great question. Do we need to receive admission into US universities before applying to Fulbright? And the answer for that is an easy no. You'll first apply for Fulbright. After you're selected, then you go through a matching process with US universities based on your credentials and the program that you are looking for. Fulbright is generally not able to work with someone who already has admission to a specific program and is simply looking for funding for that particular program. Jado, have you got a question and answer?
Yes, so I can see the question from Jose. Jose is asking this question: do the master's program applicants need to write a sample? The answer to this is yes or no. It depends on the program you applying for, like the fields. I remember, for example, in our latest cohort, we had somebody who was applying to go to the US and do a master's degree in developmental communications. So for him, they asked that he submits like 3 samples of his writings, but the rest of his cohort were not asked to do so. So it can be yes in some cases. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for dropping your questions into the chat as we go through. We will handle another round of those after our next speaker. Back to you, Jado.
Yeah, so I'm also happy to be with Mutesi Pamela, who did her program between 2015 and 2016. It's also a Fulbright Foreign Student Program award. So Pamela, would you please get the microphone and share with us your experience? Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jado. Thank you so much for the opportunity to encourage and share our experience. Thanks for the Kigali US Embassy for this opportunity, and happy anniversary to all of us. So without further ado, my name is Pamela. As Jado have said, we have introduced ourselves before. As a Fulbright alumni, it was an honor to be part of this team. my experience before we have so many from when we get to the US. We have long-lasting relationship that is still helping us still now in our career development or any personal growth. So, but I didn't want to talk more about my program because my program may not be yours, and you should not. I wanted everybody to relate to these experience and Fulbright experiments. So this opportunity for me was to encourage new applicants, to tell them, even though it looks exhausting, this procedure can be very long and it tends to come in a not perfect time at all. So I remember when we were trying to do the application, we had so much going on. We were trying to find jobs or changing careers, trying to do the master's programs everywhere in Africa. I remember mine, I had applied in Ghana. So I had so much on my plate, but this Fulbright was worth it. The effort you're putting in this, it's worth it so much. And this is just to tell you that you can make it. The one thing that has helped me a lot during this path is to have clear goals or clear objectives, not to just say, I want to study, I want to do this program. You have to make it personal and own it, because you have to know what you want to get there. You will have some of the times that you feel like you want to quit, some of the times that you would think it's a lot. But if you remember your goals, what you want, you won't quit. It will give you energy, it will keep you energized, and it's totally worth it. My note before I take too long or even have a lot of questions is to tell you that you have a lot of resources that are available for you. Please use them. Please use Jado, use everybody here who can help you. They are very kind and they are very happy to help. So use all the help you can get, because you will need it. Even there, if you have a problem, you think you cannot make it, there's resources, the student help at schools to help you. I think you'll get there. This is just for the application, but I can't stress this enough. Don't think you're in this alone. Use all the resources you have that are available for you. And before I finish, I want to encourage everybody, especially women. I see that there's not enough girls on the platform, but I just want to leave a message that you can all do it, especially those young girls, those young ladies who want to apply. You can do it. We have done it, and we are not that special, so you can do it. Thank you so much, Ado, and for everybody for this opportunity.
Pamela, we do all think you're very special. Thank you so much for that, those comments and those suggestions to everyone. Thanks everyone who is writing some great comments and questions here. A reminder that all of the details and requirements are outlined on the embassy website. I've added the link into the chat if you would like to click on that for a reminder. A great question from Umwari, who asked if today's session will be recorded, and it is. We will post this on the Embassy Facebook and YouTube videos if there's anything you'd like to watch again, or if you weren't able to catch all of the program, or for your friends and family who might be interested who were not able to join us first. And Leslie has a great question for Dr. Christian. What would you say was the difference between your third time applying and your previous applications? Why do you think you were accepted the third time around? What changed? What were the differences?
I think you get a lot of experiences for why you've been rejected. Maybe the way, maybe most of the document was not ready, or some document was not really, or your experience is based for what you want to apply. So I think there is, I've learned from my first application to the third, when I get, finally I get the Fulbright, I get a lot of experiences. And I remember when when I got the Fulbright, my friends and colleague, they said, now we have someone who can teach us how to make an application for any US or any application from US. It was really interesting because it's a journey. Fulbright is not the final destination. Fulbright is a journey from your application to US, back to your country. So it's why I would like to really to encourage my fellow Rwandan that do not be discouraged. Don't never give up. If you want, if you've been rejected, ask Jado, ask the team from US Embassy. They will explain why you've been rejected. Then you'll work on that part. And I'm pretty sure when the opportunity will be there, that will be your time. And I've never been regret to try many times beyond that, yes. And my great experiences in US, it's snow. I loved winter. The winter was really good for me. Yeah. So I'm sorry for that, but winter was a great experience for me.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Not everyone does.
I know, I know.
One question that we have from our audience is for our panelists or other alumni to talk about the question on the application about study objectives. If you remember what you put there and what seemed to resonate, I can say that from someone who is on the other side, I'm looking for a plan that makes sense. I want to see how your studies and your careers are building to an ultimate objective and an ultimate trajectory, even if it's not always a linear process. Pamela or Dr. Christian, do you remember what you might have what approach you might have taken with the study objective question on the application?
Yes, I think it was really clear. Thank you for this, the question. It was really clear that from the first application to the third, for the first application, my study objective was not really clear. I had the sense what I want to do, but not really clear how I can define it. So, and when I get to the third application, so then it was really clear in my mind what I want to do and how the objective of my study will help the country, will help especially in palliative care and end-of-life care. So that was really, really clear. So on my sense, during that journey of the application. So I was really clear to know that palliative care is not, and end-of-life care in Rwanda is still a challenge in the country, despite so many things the government have been done, access to morphine and the program in the community health workers. But we need to support the community and how, and I came just with only 2 questions. One, how Rwandan patient die, and how Rwandan patient would like to die. And from those 2 questions, my study objective was really framed.
On my side, if I may.
Please.
Oh, yes, thank you. On my side, what I would suggest everybody do is to make the objectives very clear and personal. The more clear they get and the more personal they get, the better. Why? Because if you're sending a message, if you're sharing and explaining why you want to do something, you have to say why. Sometimes for us, the student, the problem we have, it because is what is available, but we don't really know why. We don't understand why is it important to us. So the more clear you set your objectives and your personal career objective, the better. It will help us, and it will help your audience to understand the importance of it. And I would encourage them to be personal, because that's how you will stand out. You'll be different from other application. It will even be like a motivation to you as a person who's writing it. So for me, that those 2 words, make it as clear as possible and make as personal as possible, especially to you. Talk to yourself before you talk to the audience, and if you can convince yourself, you convince the audience. Thank you.
Great perspectives there. Thank you so much for your input. A great question comes from someone known to Zoom simply as iPhone user, who says that he or she applied for the Fulbright Master's Program in 2016, unfortunately was not successful, and they would like to know if they should submit new recommendation letters with this year's application in 2021. And that is a great question. And as far as I'm concerned, the answer is absolutely yes. Think about how much you have changed in the last 5 years. Think about how much you have grown in the last 5 years. Fulbright in every country is a very competitive program. That's especially true here in Rwanda. And so you'll need every opportunity to show your growth in your career, in your studies, in your life trajectory. So certainly do take advantage of subsequent applications to really update and to show how you have grown and progressed over the years. We've got a few questions I'd like to invite Jado to speak on. Jado, a couple questions here want to know about minimum age and minimum education requirements, and if you can apply for Fulbright, for example, as you are finishing your bachelor's degree. What says Jado?
Thanks very much. So about the age, again, like our current Fulbright foreign student program, which offers a master's degree. And as you can understand, you must have completed your undergraduates. So you can imagine like the range age in there is. So like on the requirements, we don't list the required age, but that requirement itself can tell you in which age range you have to be. Second question about having completed a bachelor's degree. So yes, again, it's a master's degree. You need to prove to our panelists of reviewers that you really have a university degree, because we also ask that you submit your transcript, your diplomas. So it would be difficult to have your application make the cut to the second level or make it to the interview if you don't have this document. So the answer is no, you can't submit. Of course, if you submit, the system will let you submit, but when the embassy panel starts the review, your application will not be considered for the next phase. Thanks very much. Somebody else asked about the standardized tests, and I think with this, he was referring to the GRE and the TOEFL tests. Was asking if these tests are done they are done at the embassy, and if they are paid, how much? Actually, at the embassy, we don't administer these tests. So we have a few testing centers in Kigali. There's one at the University of Rwanda headquarters, and there's another one which is independent, which is not hosted in a university. So those centers work closely with ETS, which is the owner of the tests. So what we do at the embassy in our American center, we have resources to help applicants practice. So we have TOEFL books, there are CDs, our American Center director and the library assistant will help you with the good resources to get you prepared, but we're not going to host the test as such. What we do, and this is a question many people ask, and sometimes stop in the middle of the application. They say, oh, I don't have TOEFL scores, I've never done my GRE, I'm going to stop by here, I don't have these requirements. So we don't ask that you have the TOEFL scores or the GRE scores at the time of the application, because what happened when you shortlisted for the interview and you passed the interview, the Fulbright program has funding for those who make it at that level to be paid to do those tests. So unless you've done it in the past for other purposes, but for the Fulbright program application, you don't need the TOEFL and the GRE at the time of the application. So thanks very much. Do you have more questions, Jeremy?
about the classification, the degree classification required.
Yes, I'm not sure who asked that question, but can you clarify the question for Jado, please?
Should I talk or I can type?
Sure, either's fine.
So I was asking, like, what is the minimum degree classification required? Like second class, first class, upper, whatever, whatever. Yes, thank you.
Great question. For things like that, there aren't specific cutoffs, but as a really competitive scholarship opportunity, we certainly are looking forward to seeing a history of academic success and really taking your studies seriously. I will add that grades are probably less important the farther along you are in your professional career. Oftentimes we're looking to see, what has someone done in 2 years of their professional career or beyond. So if you have a long history of work experience and have then demonstrated a lot of growth outside of the classroom, that can be something that can help compensate for lower academic grades in the past. Unfortunately, as often can be the case, there are more questions than we have time to answer today. But for specific questions or for technical difficulties with the application platform, you're welcome to reach out to Kigali Fulbright at state.gov. This is a touch point to get a hold of the public affairs team and have any questions answered. Of course, note that you are welcome to do the application at any time and are encouraged to do so. That will certainly make it more likely that you get a helpful response rather than emailing right before the application deadline. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you to our alumni friends who joined. Thank you for all of our speakers and panelists, and good luck to you, those of you who are prospective applicants eyeing the March 31st deadline for the Rwanda Fulbright Foreign Student Program this year. Ambassador Vroman, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Thanks for your support of the Fulbright programs all along. Any words of encouragement as we close this evening?
No, I would just say my own experience, whether it's for a visa interview or whether it's for a Fulbright, is to tell, I think as maybe Pamela said, an honest story, to have clear goals like Dr. Christian said, and that more than anything else, more than paperwork or other things, is going to be the most important thing for, in a general sense, for your application. So telling that honest story, really working it over in your heart, even if it takes a couple times, as it did with Dr. Christian, you can see he really distilled that into a story and a question that his research was aiming to answer. So I learned a lot from listening to these Fulbrighters. It really is an empowering experience. I thank the ministers for joining to show that really these are formative experiences that can be very helpful in solving real problems, whether it's Dr. Patrick talking about Ebola in Eastern Congo and the crises and the preparedness that he helped the ministry here with, or Dr. Mura with the education of a whole country. These are challenges that the Fulbright can help you surmount. So thank you very much. Ijoro Jiza.